Grand Rising, everybody. Peace, love, and harmony to you all. I am Peacekeeper, and I'm here to share a very important message to you guys today about weed, psychedelics, and some deep truths and secrets that the Matrix won't tell you. So if this message interests you, then stay tuned for the entire message. Now let's dive straight into it. So for starters, psychedelics in general is a herb that our ancestors used to use. Well, not as a herb, but our herbs are healers, natural healers for our body, which our ancestors used to use, to actually dive into deeper realms, to actually alter, their brainwave states and tune in to a higher state of, consciousness. Hence why, we have artists out there like Bob Marley and, other artists that use cannabis or weed and those type of things to meditate and, gain more knowledge, wisdom, etc., etc. Whereas even in our ancestral history, they would have used stuff like, the lotus flower. They even did dabble with certain types of mushrooms. You all can do research on, some of these things here, which I'm about to share with you guys. So, let's start with the psychedelic itself. What are the benefits of psychedelics? So for starters, psychedelics can play a very major role in human evolution in terms of, helping people to awaken to the truth of who they are. A spiritual being having a human experience. The reason why I'm saying that psychedelics are good is because, it shows you the parts of yourself that you have been running from. It heightens that, so it actually helps you to see clearly what's going on with you. But there are pros and cons to what it is that I'm about to say to you here. So I'll be sharing both sides of it. I'm not just going to be speaking about the pros, I'll also be speaking about the cons. Alright, so for starters, psychedelics like mushrooms, there are certain types of mushrooms which the bacteria is very harmful for your body. So this is where I said, do certain research. So for starters, one of the mushrooms that I know is a very good one. It's something called, lion's mane. And it is very healthy for you in general. It boosts brain function, it boosts immune system, it boosts boosts you in general. So that's a good one, to try if any of you may want to try that. Now, mind you be, I've never tried any of these substances aside from the lotus flower, and I've only tried that once. Correction, I have also done weed, but I don't really do it now, and I'll explain to you guys why, moving down in this message. Right? So it's like I was saying, the health benefits that comes with that is very powerful and impactful. But too much of anything is not good for you. So this is why I say, moderation is key in terms of using any of these substances, any of these psychedelics. The problem is people get a little too hooked on it, which causes problems in the long run. Alright? So moving off of that psychedelic of mushroom, I want to talk about weed a little bit. Cannabis. Some of the healing properties that come with cannabis and what it has really been created for. It's like I said, a lot of what it is I'm speaking about here are, natural healers. It has been placed here for us to use for its healing purposes. So, for example, weed is a natural calmer. It's a natural herb that helps you to calm down. It's a natural herb that helps you to regulate your emotions, reduce stress, and relieve yourself from anxiety. Another very sorry, that looked real funny. Yeah, another benefit, another benefit in that it actually is good for asthma. It can cure cancer. But these are some of the things that they won't tell you about weed though in the Matrix. This is why they haven't legalized it. This is why they also try to lean people off of certain things like that. Because they don't want people to really and truly realize the truth of who they are. But our ancestors used to use weed. Our ancestors used to use those herbs. They used it for the purpose to go to certain higher realms and heighten the states that they were currently on. So hence a lot of people who use weed are not aligned to the vibration or frequency of that herb. Whereas some people may use weed and you find that they get a lot calmer. And then some people may use weed and you find they get a little hyper. It's because their frequency is not vibing on the same frequency as the herb itself, as the plant itself. Within them, they are on a completely opposite frequency. So hence they use that and it will heighten that state within them. But there are times though that it can possibly help them to calm that state. But that being said, that it doesn't work for everybody. Weed is not a herb for everybody. So I also need to put that there. It really depends on an individual themselves. It really, really depends on that. So this being said though, it has a lot of healing properties, a lot of health benefits to it. Also, hemp has a lot of benefits to it. Hemp powder, very nutritious, high in protein. It's also healthy for you in general, boosts your brain function. Like the amount of benefits that you get from hemp, it's mind-blowing. Now I don't use hemp. I don't use any of these things right now currently, but I know about them. I have knowledge of it. Right? So I've spoken about the benefits of weed and I've spoken about the benefits of hemp, the benefits of psychedelics in terms of how it alters your brainwave state and it can help you to awaken and really transcend the physical plane and dive into deeper realms. But I'll also like to share with you some of the cons here. So many substance users who use psychedelics and weed and those things, it becomes like a crutch to them. It becomes like a need for it. Like without it, it's like they can't do without it because that's the go-to. That's the soother. That's the antidote that they would use to regulate themselves. So naturally they don't know how to do it, and this is why they tend to run to it continuously. So over time now, they become addicted, where they lose control over themselves in terms of not being able to do without it. And this, my friend, is a negative here because now it comes like you externalize your power and you become very attached to it. You become like used by it instead of you being the user of it now. And too much of, you know, anything is, it can lead to a problem, you know. But that being said, I've never heard anyone overdose from weed before. I've heard people overdose, you know, from cocaine, alcohol, and those other stuff. But nothing pertaining to do with weed, unless they were mixing other things with it. But that's a whole other story, right? So in general, weed is a very natural and beautiful herb, has a lot of healing properties. But I say this to you guys: if you are a weed smoker, know that you don't need it, because the truth is, you can get that high naturally. You see, the reason why a lot of people run to weed and run to these things is because they are also trying to escape what it is that, you know, they are going through. So there are users, there are people that use weed to escape reality, and there are people that use weed to dive deep into reality. You know, so for example, Bob Marley, he would have used weed to dive deep into reality. So as if he would have smoked to you know, gain those those heights, he would have studied, or he would have poured, you know, that into writing and creating. You know, so that was the purpose of the herb, you know, to bring forth that creation, to help you to slow down your mind, right? Just to enhance your focus, enhance your state. But in today's society, we use it as a antidote to cure pain, which it is also good for. Weed is also good for helping pain. And I'm not just talking about mental pain, I'm actually talking about physical pain, you know. So it has a lot of benefits, right? But people lean too much on it to the point where they are just using it for that crutch, in a way where it's to try and mask their emotions, or it's to try to get away from the world, where the truth is, using it in that way, you kind of like depleting the purpose of it, because it is a herb that is meant to heal you, not suppress you. So this is where I say, you know, think about why it is that you use substances in your life. Like, what is the purpose that it is serving, and why do you think that you need it? Why do you think that you can't do without it? Think about that, because that can lead you or indicate to you where within yourself, you know, you're holding on to something, or where within yourself that you can implement something different to make a change, to no longer need, etc., etc. And this being said, if you ask me, will I smoke weed or will I use weed again? Yes, with the right person. It just depends on what is the purpose behind doing it. It just depends on, you know, the experience that I would want to gain with the individual, and that's it. But as for me, I won't do it to get high. I won't do it to reach a certain consciousness or reach a certain state, because I get that naturally. I get that from just being out here in the heart of nature, in the present moment. This is also what weed does. Weed helps you to, you know, slow down your brainwave state, to bring you into the present moment. And this is why, you know, as I said a couple videos or weeks ago, you know, anxiety can simply be no more just by you being present. Like, anxiety doesn't have to exist in your reality once you're being present, because all anxiety emanates from fear of the future, worry of the future. That's where anxiety comes from, when you're thinking too much about the future. So So when it is that you pull yourself out of the future and into the here and now, anxiety depletes. So this is also what weed does. It helps you to slow down and, you know, enter the now, the here and now. It's very powerful there. But it's like I said, a lot of people have become so attached to it, you know? Whereas, think of these substances like this, right? It's like an enhancer of your mind, body, soul connection. And I'll use yoga to break this down. A natural way of how I, you know, raise the frequency. Yoga. So I connect my mind to my body. As I connect my mind to my body, I connect to my feeling state. I connect to the total truth of who I am. And I submerge myself in the present moment, just using breathwork techniques, just being in this present moment, tuning into my senses. I'm talking about mind, everything that I'm feeling that I can't feel right now, the air, the little scent, you know, that I smell in the atmosphere, whatever am I smelling right now. You know, may smell some greenery, may just smell the freshness in the air and stuff like that. All of that is tuning me into the present moment, and all of that also, you know, is bringing for that gratitude for the present moment. So it's bringing for that genuine gratitude, is bringing for that genuine bliss, which now is calming me. Exactly the same thing that weed will do for people who smoke weed. They will smoke it and it will calm them. It will help them to, you know, reduce stress levels and slow down their brainwave state. Yoga does the same thing, pulls you into the present moment and slows down your brainwave state and connects you to the divine, connects you to that, you know, soul essence within you. So as I connect to that, I connect to God, I connect to the Most High, and I now develop that high state. You know, and when I say develop, you know, I just move even more into it. You know, so that's also is a form of praying. That's yoga is like a form of praying for me too. You know, without even having to use words. It's just a form of feeling and feeling the thanks. You know, I don't need to say thank you or say any type of affirmation. It's good to say or speak or and do these things, but I don't need to, because I'm being in it. I am embodying it. So this is the power of yoga. You know, this is the power of mind, body, soul connection. Right? And when I realize that I'm capable and able to do this now, go on high heights without even using the weed and all of those other things, this is why I say to you, I'm always high now. Because I understand this, what I'm about to say to you here. The calmer you are, the more your brain produces dopamine. So hence, when it is that you smoke the weed and you get calm, for those who actually get calm from it, it's like I said, other people, there are some people that it just doesn't have an effect on because of their frequency, right? Well, it doesn't have that specific effect on them because of their frequency, right? The same thing goes on with the weed. You know, it calms you down and it triggers that dopamine hit. You know, so this is why when it is a lot of people smoke weed, you know, they smoke to get high because they want that dopamine. You know, weed is like sex. Another addiction that a lot of people have. Whereas, you know, they always need to run to the sex to get that dopamine hit to feel good. I love sex. Like, I really love sex. Like, I want sex all now. Like, really. But it's not a need. It's something that I want. It's something that I enjoy. But it's not a need. These things are not needs for me. These things are tools to be used for me. You know? I've learned how to do a lot of these things naturally. I've learned how to produce dopamine naturally. I've learned how to transcend this physical world naturally. So every single substance that I've talked about, you can do this naturally. But it's a lot more difficult to do it naturally because most people have been leaned and programmed to using the, you know, substances and the external factors. Now, when it comes to alcohol, it's like I said, alcohol is a killer, absolute killer. There's no benefits in alcohol. And I won't brush or butter that up for anyone. There are no health benefits in alcohol. Absolutely none. Zero. Completely and totally harmful for your body. But not going into that though. So back to the weed and the yoga, as I was saying, the connection between the two. You actually gain that calmness, you gain that bliss, which puts you in that state of being in this present moment. And in that moment, you're now able to really and truly connect to you. You're now able to connect to the divine within you. So this is the benefits of weed, benefits of yoga, pros and cons of it. So the con within it, yet again, especially for people who smoke, you are putting a lot of strain on your lungs. Also, you are creating mucus within your brain. This is why it's not good to do that often, because over time, somewhere down the line, when it is that you're ready to really and truly lean off of it, if you choose, it will be very difficult to break the addiction. And also what goes on, a lot of people who smoke weed have a lot of issues, in terms of a lot of mucus building up. And that's not just coming from the weed, but what it is that you're smoking the weed on. The paper, or they actually have plastic wraps now. So some alternatives you can use, maybe a bong, or dilute it, bake it, or get oil from it. These are some of the ways that I would use it. It's way healthier for you that way, and you get the health benefits out of it that way. Aside from mixing it with things like tobacco, stay away from tobacco, please. That's not good for you at all. Absolutely no health benefits. They even tell you on the pack it's killing you. But some people just like the idea of, and some people do it also because they think it looks cool. So I say to you, don't just do it because you think it looks cool. Do things in a way that you're doing it with a purpose, with an intention of why it is you are doing it. Don't just do it because you have been influenced or because you think that it's cool. So moving from that there now, back to yoga. So someone asked me, recently, if I believed in God. Am I an atheist? Because I go within to connect to God. And I have to say this here too. I don't need a mediator to connect to the divine. I don't need an outside entity to connect to my soul. So I'll just love to drop that right there too, because the truth is, this is why I promote and push you guys to trust within yourself, because you don't need an outside entity to connect to your soul. All you need to do is trust within yourself and listen and obey yourself. That's it. Because to obey yourself is to obey God. When it is that you obey yourself, you obey God. But there's a difference between obeying this self, logical self, egotistical self, and obeying this self. And an easy way to know when it is that you're in the logical self, resistance. So if you were in resistance to anything that I was saying earlier on in this message, you were in your ego. That's why you were triggered, or may have or may not have been triggered. So if you were triggered, that's ego. You see, soul's not triggered by anything, because soul's not limited. Easy way to know when you're obeying God. This ain't God. Logic ain't God. This is God. Love is God. And love is in all. So God is in all. And I'll just leave those facts there. For anyone who chooses to ask me again, do I believe in God? Yes, but my God is here residing within me. That's some magical sky daddy. This is also what has, helped me to, go and maneuver into different realms and actually see the future, foresee the future, know what's coming, know what is to be, know what is now, from connecting to God. But that requires surrender, and this is what yoga has also taught me, how to surrender and dissolve the ego death, kill that ego, kill that logic at times. Yeah, now it's there to be used for a lot of things, but really to connect to that God essence, get rid of the logic. Intuition is not logical. Intuition forms where you are able to put aside the logic and allow the knowing of your emotions, of your heart, to fuel you with information. Now you get that connection of intuition. So you can break it down in a logical aspect, but really it's coming from your spiritual side. It's coming from the deeper side of you. This is why a lot of my messages, are high vibrational messages. This is why a lot of my messages, for some, they may not understand because they are just stuck in the logical aspect of things, so they can't understand based on logic alone. This is where moving into your heart space helps you to understand and get more clarity on things. But to move into your heart space requires surrender to your own love, and that surrender comes from you being vulnerable and open enough to feel your own love. But a lot of people, it's like I said also, they use substances and those sodas as a suppressor, where really and truly it's supposed to be used as a tool to go within even deeper. So this is why, it's like I said again, quoting Bob Marley here, he would have done it and wrote songs with it. He would have done it with a purpose to go even deeper within. That's the purpose of also psychedelics and stuff like that. By the way, as I talked about mushrooms though, the best way to do mushrooms, this is from research, yet again I've never done it, is on an empty stomach. Drink a lot of water, make sure that you're fueled, like don't eat anything artificial because it can have some major side effects on you. I don't want y'all saying Peacekeeper told me, hey, use psychedelics to go on my awakening journey, and then something happens to you, because there are people that vomited, there are people that got a lot of side effects that wasn't the best on those psychedelics. But best way to do it, if you are interested in trying that, make sure that you are light, make sure that you are clean. You can eat things like fruits on, that will help. But artificial, you can harm yourself, right? And that also brings me into my last and final tip here too. Foods help me to actually go on certain heights. Foods boost those parts of you. Foods enhances those parts of you. This is why I say I'm always high, because I'm always eating healthy. Now I do eat artificial things, I do eat carpets at times, but I take care of myself at the same time. I make sure that I am putting in the best for my body, the best possible nutrition for my body, to help me to enhance, not just physically but spiritually, because food carry energy. This is why the energy that it has in the herb of weed is actually a healing energy. This is why it's created with those healing properties within it. So I say to you, live enzymes always the best way to go. There's a lot of facts on that. You guys can do research. Not going too deep into that, but you'll get where I'm going with this. You'll get it, because really and truly, that natural high is found right here, right now. in this moment. Another way to get that natural high is, practicing mindfulness meditation. Like practicing mindfulness meditation. What is mindfulness meditation? Becoming the conscious observer of your mind, becoming the conscious observer of your thoughts, becoming the conscious observer of your surroundings. So as I use physical yoga also to do these things, you don't have to do yoga. No, you can be conscious and aware, connected to the divine, connected to your soul without doing yoga. Right here, right now. Not doing yoga, but I'm mindfully meditating. I am being mindful of my words. I am being mindful of my thoughts. I am being mindful of my actions. I am being mindful of my surroundings. I am being mindful. Constantly meditating as I go along. So this is why I say to you, I don't need it. Anything that I may do now is just an enhancement of what I am currently. I'm already free. I don't need a antidote or a soda or something else to, bring forth this within me. I do that naturally. And that's the power that comes with mindfulness meditation. How to mindfully meditate also effectively. Lose judgment of thoughts. Like lose judgment of thoughts, that's one. Lose judgment of your physical self, physical appearance. Lose attachment, that's two. Allow thoughts, allow things to be. And if you can mindfully meditate and keep that frequency, keep that vibrational frequency, you are also tuning into the God-like frequency. You are tuning more and more and more deeply into soul. So this is where you gain a lot of clarity. And this is where sometimes people may think you know everything. But it's not that you know everything. You have just surrendered to the universal stream consciousness. Universal stream consciousness. Streaming live. Always. You're just connected to the universal internet. That's it. So as things come, you drop it as is. You flow as it goes. No resistance, like I said. See? That's the beauty of practicing mindfulness meditation. That's the beauty of submerging yourself in the here and now. Submerging yourself in the present moment. That's the beauty that comes with these things. So guess what? Now you no longer need the psychedelics. Now you no longer need the weed. Now you no longer need any of those substances because Peacekeeper just taught you how to do it naturally. So next time I hear somebody tell me, I need this or I need that. No, you're just choosing to run to it. And that's okay. Because that's your choice. And that's what it is you choose to do. Nothing's wrong with that. I'm just sharing with you me. I'm just sharing with you my lifestyle. I'm just sharing with you the level that I'm at. That's the level I'm on. And I did not get here in just 2 days, 1 day, 5 days, a week. No. I got here from being consistent every day in, day out. Non-stop. Practicing mindfulness meditation. I fall a lot, but I continuously keep reminding myself and tuning myself, fine-tuning myself, sharpening my sword, and becoming better and better and better at it as I go along. And this is only a year and, 6 months consistency. I've been mindfully meditating before though, even knowing now. This is just me knowing what I've been doing for the years before. So now I have knowledge of what it is I was doing. But that being said, a year constantly, repeatedly channeling that focus in the direction that I wanted to be in. Practicing. And which brings me into my last and final tip here, because I wasn't even going to speak for this long on this topic, but I guess just want to yap, right? And I'll leave this last one in terms of singing. A lot of singers, artists are connected to God, connected to divine. And I'll explain to you why. Because to sing is to really and truly connect to your soul. So for example, I can sing a verse. I've been looking for someone worth fighting for. I've been looking for someone worth. So I'm singing, right? But that's not genuine singing. That is just singing based off singing for singing's sake. But you see, when it is you sing with feelings involved, emotion involved. I'm just looking for someone worth fighting for. I'm just looking for someone worth smiling for. I'm just looking for the one who's worth fighting for. No, you're actually singing. Now you're actually submerging yourself in the present moment. Now you're feeling the vibration of your words. Now you're feeling the vibration of your song. Now you're actually pulling yourself and drawing yourself into the present moment. So this is why I always say to you guys, pursue your talents, pursue your passion, because singing for me pulls me into the present moment. But it can be something as simple as writing poems for you. Like, feel the words of your poems and pour that out, because that's coming from soul. But most people don't want to dive that deep. Most people don't want to feel that hurt. Most people don't want to feel that pain. But it's not a matter of pain, but channeling that pain in a beautiful way, venting it out and releasing it. So now it's no longer pain. No, because you have released it. So it's like I said also in my live yesterday, you all can go check that out. You no longer need pain to grow, because you are now releasing pain as you go along also. And in addition to that video, you no longer need the pain, because you let pain go. You pour pain out and you let pain flow out the window, and you alchemize and change that into something beautiful. You alchemize and change that into something positive. You bring forth beauty out of your situations. Like, for example, I recently met someone who sang about his brother's death, and that song was so touching to me. I felt it. I felt his words. I felt the connection that they had together in that song. Beautiful song. And that's just in memory of his brother. That's him, his way of letting go, and also leaving a legacy behind, a memory for his brother. Deep, very deep, beautiful. But a lot of people don't want to go deep. A lot of people rather run and suppress. And this being said, the only how you can really transcend and overcome something is when you face it head on. It's when you face that pain head on, when you face whatever it is that you have been dealing with head on, and you vent that out, you open yourself up, be vulnerable enough to release that. Now you're able to heal from that. So now the death, it's not a negative. He turned it into something positive, and you can actually see it in a more beautiful way, because he knows that his love for his brother will live on through that song. He knows that his love will live forever. The memories of him will live forever. But that doesn't mean that it's stopping him from doing what it is that he needs to do. He's still enjoying life. He's still coming out, mingling with people, being vulnerable, being open with people, vibing, happy, genuine happiness still, because he has now let it go in that song. So even if he hears the song, it's not a matter of it's reminding him of, oh gosh, my brother gone, and I went back or anything. No, he turned it into something beautiful. He turned it into something that people can enjoy and people can relate to, resonate with. He turned it into something beneficial to all. Someone else maybe, going through something similar and can listen to that song and vibe with it, and may even break down in tears, but it's all good. It's good to feel. It's good to be there. But it's always to understand that even in those states, come out of it, like love it. So for me, I've learned also, if I'm sad or if I'm crying, not to judge my tears as bad or negative. I actually love to cry. I love it if I cry because my tears are not tears of sorrow, but tears of joy. My tears are not tears of pain, but tears of releasing. My tears are not tears of weakness, but tears of strength. And that's what comes when it is that you fortify yourself emotionally. When it is that you understand that emotions are not bad, but actually your truest strength. And this is why I don't need substances, guys. This is why I don't need those things. I don't run from my feelings. I always talk in feelings. I sing about feelings. I talk about feelings. I just love feelings. You know? And I'll close off here though. So I say to you guys, if this message has helped you in any way, form or fashion, if you've made it down this far, didn't plan on speaking this much, really, but it is what it is. Hope you guys sat through this entire message. I'm out until tomorrow. Tap that like button and share this. Someone else out there may need to hear this. Peace, love, and harmony to you all. Hope I gave you, well, not hope, I know I gave you some deep insights, some deep truths here today. And take what you need to take, apply what you need to apply, and do you, be you, and don't give a fuck. I'm out.